Absolutely. So let me ask you about Speaker Johnson, because you mentioned that he was a constitutional lawyer. By chance, I actually had him on my show just a couple of months before he became House Speaker. Obviously, nobody knew at the time that that was even possible. And I remember walking away very impressed with his knowledge, but also his passionate commitment to the beliefs he had, including the dangers of having the U.S. security state have this wide range of powers of censorship and warrantless eavesdropping. He was also vehemently opposed to more funding for the war in Ukraine. He then becomes Speaker, and he has a 180-degree reversal on multiple issues within a matter of a couple of months, including now he's promising to get $60 billion more to Ukraine. He was the key vote. He was the one who made it a tie by voting in favor of warrantless eavesdropping against the Biggs Amendment. Now, I presume you don't know Mike Johnson personally because you haven't served with him in Congress. I'm not asking you to speculate on his motives personally, but you have been in Washington for a long time. What is it about how Washington culture works? We obviously saw the same thing with President Obama. He vowed in 2008 when he was running to undo a whole range of war and terror programs that once he got elected, he instead embraced and even strengthened. What is it about the culture of Washington, the U.S. security state, that gets these people into their grasp and can get them to radically change their views on what seem to be very thoughtful and convicted principles in such a short period of time?
I think what it comes down to is this, and this is no disparagement of Speaker Johnson, who probably has the toughest job in America. There is a desire to join a consensus in Washington. It's a very powerful thing to be part of a party, to be in agreement. If you're in a position of real power inside the Congress, to hold that position. And when that happens, often the Constitution is set aside. And I started at the beginning by talking about how the Constitution is under assault. You know, Article 1, Section 8 is the one that empowers Congress to decide whether to go to war or not. That has been totally trashed by a series of administrations, you know, whether it was Serbia, Iraq, Libya, Syria, Iran. There's various iterations of war. Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7. Check it out. That's the one that talks about the constitutional responsibility to make appropriations and also basically to keep the books. How do you end up with a $34 trillion national debt if that's what's happening? The Patriot Act, clear violation of Fourth Amendment. But leadership in Congress went for it. I read it. I didn't vote for it. The WTO, how did we get there? We gave away our sovereignty to WTO, GATT, NAFTA, China trade. I mean, these are all things. This is a Washington consensus. It's about the blob, about going along with it instead of going back to the Constitution, which is really our guide, as should have been the guide in the FISA debate. Fourth Amendment, again, set aside. This World Health Organization treaty sets aside 5 different constitutional amendments. I mean, the leadership, when they get in there, it's about staying in power, and it's not about empowering the American people through upholding the Constitution.